Cash Crew, we're back again with another episode. As promised, we're going to be talking to Dan Mondesir with part 2 of his episode. This time we'll be talking about the NFL and, of course, specifically the Dallas Cowboys. As always, we hope you enjoy. On that note, let's move on because I know y'all want to talk about the NFL.
Ding, 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 ding,
And
ding.
I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let these guys go at it. We're going to talk about Cowboys football. Are we going to talk about any other NFL team today?
This week's topic.
If we can fit him in.
This week's topic.
Boom.
We're going to dive in. Why is America's team failing America?
Wow. That's how we're going to set it up?
Is that a question of opinion? Or because I'm going to tell you, I don't think technically they're failing America. Hate the Cowboys, love the Cowboys. You're going to watch the Cowboys.
That's a fact.
By default?
Not by default. It's because it's telling you they're America's team. Mm-hmm. If you are an Eagles fan, if you are any fan that hates the Cowboys, you either want to see the Cowboys win or lose.
That is a fact.
That's why their ratings are very high in primetime TV, where they're not technically failing America nor the NFL. I mean, to say that they're failing America is actually, to me, I can't even see how. I mean...
I know how. Hold on.
I know how. I mean, to be honest with you, that's why I think a part of, and this is me actually trying to be unbiased, they're a little mediocre because of that. Yeah. Because Jerry Jones, being a smart businessman, is not losing money. He is not losing money being mediocre. Yeah. I mean, so I don't think they're failing America. They might be failing their fans, but they're not failing America. So I think to say that they're failing America is a stretch. It's a stretch. It's actually kind of a biased question, but it's a stretch.
We done stretched hamstrings with that one. Golly. Go ahead, Vlad. I know you got so many other things to talk about.
Just got a question for you.
Okay.
When I say these stats, and when I'm finished, what comes to your mind? 3 double-digit winning seasons, 4 division winning seasons, 3 playoff appearances, no conference championship, 13 Pro Bowlers, in 10 years.
Okay. What comes to mind is this. Once again, I just mentioned it. Now, I'm trying to be unbiased because it's pretty hard, to be honest with you.
You got to be unbiased. Kins came on here and told us exactly what it was about Atlanta.
And I truly feel this way. As a sports fan, sometimes I'm watching sports. And I don't believe the NFL is that hard, to be honest with you. You can see certain moves teams make and say, well, you guys are bad because of this and that. I still believe football is one in the trenches. You do need a franchise quarterback. You need
the big
line.
uglies.
You need defensive lines. Those stats just tell me, mediocre. Take a guy like Tony Romo, right? Came 2004, made the team, undrafted. Eastern Illinois, small school, nobody heard of Tony Romo. Yeah. You understand? And that still comes to the fact that Dallas is this big light because Tony Romo came in, started. I mean, look at Ben DiNucci. Nobody ever heard of that guy, right? But he came in, everybody now all of a sudden knows who Ben DiNucci is. And those stats just tell me this. And it goes back to the 90s when we were good. Maybe Jimmy did build that team. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a harsh and hard reality for me as a fan. I believe this. I think even with Tony Romo, it hurt his career. As far as the Hall of Fame, if you're basing it on wins. Because I think based on his numbers, he has Hall of Fame numbers. Top QBR, top 5 all time. I mean, that's all time, not an era, all time.
That's crazy.
And,
I know that.
And yet, he only has 2 playoff wins. Yes, we could, and I'm going to say this. I love Tony Romo. Love him to death. I think his downfall was injuries, to be honest with you. He was made out of glass. Sometimes when he got sacked, I would say, well, please get up. As a fan, please get up. When I see those numbers, I say, okay, well, it's a tough shoe, huh?
Didn't he
he did actually.
Collarbone.
And we could talk about that also. But when I hear those things, 10 years, limited. Well, how many other teams have won a lot? Tom
New
Brady's
England
an
Patriots.
That's Patriot. He's an outlier.
Right,
Yeah,
but
you can't.
they're outliers.
Yeah.
I mean, even before Tom Brady, right? A lot of teams, let's talk about the Patriots, not Tampa. A lot of teams weren't winning Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is considered what, one of the greatest?
The greatest.
One.
He only won one.
Yep.
Right?
Breeze too.
And yeah, you say he's the greatest, that's an opinion of yours. But but technically he's only had one Super Bowl.
Yep.
One Super Bowl. Drew Brees. People talk about Drew Brees.
Yep.
Hey, he was this, he was that. I love Drew Brees. I'm not taking anything away from Drew Brees. Drew Brees, one Super Bowl.
I have a question though. How many does Tony Romo have?
None. Zero. But there's a lot. Warren Moon, Hall of Famer, zero. There's a lot of quarterbacks that haven't won, and yet they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's, to say how many Super Bowls, I think it's unfair to the guy. I think we should look at where he came from, how he maintained to be that good on the team. Because remember, early in Romo's career, he didn't have a line. And there were plays against the Rams where he was running for his life, where they were hiking the ball 10 yards before he could actually catch it, set, and he would run and pick up a first down. There are games, and people always say, well, Romo's not clutch. How? We based on 2006, where he should have been a holder. You understand? Most teams use the backup quarterback, especially back then, to be the holder for the kicker. So we placed 2006, but guess what? He took earned Drew Bledsoe's spot. Earned Drew Bledsoe's spot, took over, led the Cowboys to the playoffs. You know what was our record before Romo took over?
Educate me.
We were 1-3. We were playing the Giants. He came in. Drew Bledsoe threw a terrible fade that got picked.
I do think Tony Romo, because he played for the Cowboys, people look over his stats because it's kind of like it's funny because I always called the Dallas Cowboys the New York Knicks of the South, and you know what I mean by that. When you go to the Knicks, there are so many expectations placed on you, versus like if Tony Romo were to come and do this for the Dolphins, it'd be revered.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't think so. I'm going to disagree with that because a lot of people told me that before, the New York Knicks in the South. Well, the Knicks haven't won since the 70s. So
that's not what I meant.
What I'm saying is the comparison is kind of unfair to the Cowboys because I would compare the Knicks to the Dolphins. Because the Knicks won around the same time as the Dolphins
Makes
won.
Sense. Yeah.
You understand? So to say the New York Knicks are the South, I can't give them that because when's the last time the Knicks made the playoffs? At least, look, let's be honest. Even with Dak, right? He came in first year. Yes, did they have any playoff success? No. But he came his first year. They made the playoffs. When's the last time the Knicks made the playoffs? You understand?
2013.
They're the so-called mecca of basketball. This is the last time they made the playoffs.
When was it?
2013.
Yikes.
Okay, so to that, it's been 8 years since they made the playoffs. So to say, I think it's a little harsh to actually compare them to the New York Knicks.
But why? Because you have this fanboy love for Romo, but he only gave you three
No, it's not a fanboy. I actually just talked to you about facts.
But
they haven't made the playoffs in 8 years.
I understand that, but
that's a big difference.
But what has Dallas done for you lately?
What have they done for? That's actually a valid question. I think every football fan goes through this.
Yep.
Where you go through trials and tribulations as a fan.
Hello, Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles, it's been how many years since the Eagles? Yes, and to their credit, they have won as painful as it hurts up to now. The Eagles did win the Super Bowl. You go through your trials. You go through certain things. Like I said before, trying to be very unbiased here, which I really hate it. But the Cowboys have been mediocre. And, it's unfortunate. I think it's very simple. I think even now, they have to, build that defense.
That's what I was going to ask you. What do you think
they have to build that defense? I think, like I said, I think we target, even you, Vla, hate them or love them, you target them because, believe it or not, either you want them to lose and you're still watching them, which makes them America's team. So, with that being said, you could read all the numbers to me. And I got franchises in the NFL that have worse numbers than the Cowboys.
Correct,
Because
but
they're this light
here's my
that
problem with that.
everybody wants to watch.
I have a problem with that. You guys are the number 2 team in the past decade with the most Pro Bowlers. You
Right.
have talent.
Right.
So what's happening?
But just like I said with
Des
football,
Bryant, Ezekiel Elliott,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Witten. 3 times out of those 10 years, the number 1 offensive line. May I go on?
Okay, let me.
One of the richest owners in the league.
Okay. But what I'm
Where's
trying
the
to tell
excuse?
you, what I'm
You're
trying
not the Detroit Lions.
No, we're not, because we won playoff games. So again, you're making unfair arguments because the Detroit Lions haven't won a playoff game since 1990. You understand? So it's still, by you saying Detroit Lions, that really doesn't do anything for me, because one, they have never won a Super Bowl. Since the 90s, they haven't won a playoff game.
Yikes.
And to that point, you could say 13 Pro Bowlers, which they're not the only team with multiple Pro Bowlers that
You guys
have
are the
won
second
a
highest.
Super Bowl.
Second highest
Well,
in
second
the past
highest,
decade.
so that means we're not even number 1. Who's number 1, Vlad?
Number 1, I believe, is between San Fran and someone else.
Oh, interesting. You said San Francisco. Interesting. San Francisco, and you don't even know that somebody else would still makes my argument that Dallas
But
Cowboys
you guys are still top 3.
America's team. San Francisco, when's the last time they won a Super Bowl?
At least they went.
Going? Who remembers losers? Like, you're a champion. You should know that. You're a champion. Who remembers losers? Unfortunately, and I hate to throw the Falcons in it because they're not in it, but you remember 28.
The studio audience is mad,
and
man.
that's the worst way to be remembered. But nobody remembers real losers. You know, the only losers people remember were the Patriots when they went 16-0 and lost. And that was like the worst way to lose. Because
They remember you
perfect.
when you lose spectacularly.
And once again, I hate the fact that the Giants did it, because that year the Cowboys were 13-3 in 2007. We were the number 1 seed. The Giants did beat us. But at the end of the day, all these Pro Bowlers, I get it. San Francisco haven't won a Super Bowl. Yes. Do I want to get... Because your argument next, if we do make it to the Super Bowl and lose, your argument will still say, well, the Cowboys haven't won since 95.
But at least I'll give you credit for making it.
You don't give people credit for losing. In any sport, you're measured by wins and losses. You don't give people credit for losing. That's just a cop-out. In any sport, if you're a fan, I don't care if your team are the Detroit Lions. If they make it that year too, because, next year's not promised, let's be real. Football, you have injuries. You have things that happen. It's not a guarantee. Like I said, the Patriots are the only team, the only outlier to actually have this much success. You understand? And it's not a guarantee next year you'll be in the same position. It's not a guarantee. They pulled up a stat with Aaron Rodgers when he won. What's his playoff record? You understand? It's worse than most players. So it's not necessarily, to me saying, well, with all these stats, that's football. There's wins, there's losses. Nobody remembers losers. Cowboys, unfortunately, hey, guess what? We won in something, Kendrick. We're not number 1 with more Pro Bowlers. And the 49ers are, yes, they made it to the Super Bowl. Did they win? No. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Wins and losses, that's what we care about. Let's be honest. Yes, as fans, we debate, we'll say, well, at least my team made it and yours team didn't. Yeah. But let's be realistic. If you want to win, you don't think the Falcons would trade everything away to win that Super Bowl. Oh, if they could
start with Matt
back,
Ryan.
It's not even about making it. Because look at Matt Ryan, another guy. A guy that made it to the Super Bowl, and guess what? People trash him. Yeah. They say, hey, get him out of town.
Crazy.
Where was your franchise when Michael Vick was getting bashed and people didn't think the Falcons were going to be good? But then all of a sudden people are saying, well, get him out of town. Well, you know what Matt Ryan did for that franchise? He actually gave them a nice little pickup as far as respectability.
4,000 yards almost every season.
Every year he plays.
He's done
every year he plays well, and that's football. Football, you win in the trenches. It's all about consistency too. Let's be honest. Romo, how many coaches and coordinators had he gone through? Brady, technically 2. You understand? those guys, consistency is everything in football. Romo has been through Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett during his tenure. And quarterbacks don't maintain... Please tell me, Vla. My question is how many quarterbacks had all those coaches actually really won? I mean, it's a lot that goes with it, especially even with Dak. Dak started with Jason Garrett. Let's see how he does under Mike McCarthy. He had 2 different coordinators already. Dak hasn't played 5 years in the NFL.
That's what I wanted to talk about next.
You know, I always talk about it. Players win games, right? Mm-hmm. Organizations have a little bit of thing, but when it comes to football, just like Dak, you understand? It's more of structure. You know, to actually succeed in life, you need structure. Mm-hmm. You need structure. We all do, right? The Dallas Cowboys, that's the difference right there. As much as I love them, I love the Cowboys more than anything. You know, there's times my wife will question, do I love the Cowboys more than her? But I love the Cowboys. I do. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was a kid. Since I could watch football, understand football, I've been a Cowboys fan.
You must have traumatic experiences.
No,
as
not
a
really.
kid.
Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, those guys have blessed me where I actually, yes, I was young, and you're going to say how old were you, and I love it, and I welcome it, so I'm going to beat you to the punch. But, you know.
I'm glad you know.
It was, the Cowboys are that, to me, no matter if you hate them, you love them, you're going to watch.
So,
go ahead.
Before we go to the next one, actually, it was wrong. I got the colors wrong. It was actually Kansas City. They had 15. You guys had 13. Kansas City is number 1 as far as Pro Bowlers.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
Just you guys are almost neck and neck.
Okay.
Now, by the way, Kansas City still is doing better than the Cowboys though because
well they won the Super Bowl. So of course, any team that wins the Super Bowl in the last 10 years, they're doing better than the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. But to that with Kansas City, okay, that's great. Like I said, those stats are misleading too. Are you going from previous Patrick Mahomes, or are you going towards Patrick Mahomes and further? Because if I could tell you, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce
are most of those numbers, yes.
Right? Probably, you know, those guys, right? Mm-hmm. And also to my argument, stability. When Patrick Mahomes came into the league, a lot of people didn't know that. He was benched a whole year. Alex Smith was the starter.
Correct.
They never rushed Patrick Mahomes to start, which goes by coaching. You know, Andy Reid, phenomenal coach, which you look at it and you say, well, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is this. Did anybody know Patrick Mahomes was going to become this?
Nope.
Analysts never thought Patrick Mahomes was going to be this good. But then he had the right structure also. To my point, it's part of it is the players. I get that. Mm-hmm. You understand? We criticize players. We say, hey, you have to win, you have to win, you have to win. Right? Is it fair? Yeah, as fans, that's our expectations, to win at all costs. But in a sense, when you look at Patrick Mahomes' career and how they actually brought him along, which I could say with other franchises. Look at Tua, right? And I don't want to, use the Dolphins as an example. Mm-hmm. But look at Tua. Fitzpatrick was starting. Dolphins had a good defense. And they rushed Tua. He broke his leg a year before.
Yeah.
Why are you rushing Tua to see what you have? You drafted him. You drafted him. Oh, we want to see what we have in the field. Why? You guys are winning. You guys are winning. And now if something happens to Tua, you know what people are going to say? Oh, he was not that good. He was too small. Right? But under those right circumstances, maybe Tua in a better franchise would actually be a really good player. A lot of times we criticize players, and to my point with Matt Ryan, we criticize players on wins and losses. And half the times it was never their fault. You want to bring up the Cowboys. I could bring up actual facts. During the Green Bay game, the famous catch, which was a catch, by the way.
By Dez?
Yes, that was a catch. That game, people say, well, it was a catch. And then guess what? Romo still only won 2 playoff games. The game before it, against Detroit, when they were down, right? And people say, well, the questionable calls. But Romo brought the team back to win a playoff game. Mm-hmm. And then went into Green Bay, played a phenomenal game. A lot of people look at Dez Bryant, and I always say there's not one player that loses the game. DeMarco Murray had more fumbles than anybody that year.
That is true.
Anybody that year. He fumbled twice. We were up 14-7, right? We're killing that defense. We're driving. He fumbles. To the point we're going to go up 21-7. You know what difference that makes?
Yeah.
If DeMarco Murray doesn't fumble, the game is not even that close to where Des Bryant, Romo has to go on a 4th and 2 to throw a perfect pass, and it comes to that possession. DeMarco Murray fumbled twice that game, lost both fumbles. We're up 14-7. Now, that's the difference. That's football. That's the difference right there from you saying Romo never made a conference championship. That right there. Was it his fault? No, he didn't throw a pick.
So 1 year out of how many years did Romo play
Well,
for you guys?
let's go to that too.
But hold on. Before we go to that.
Okay. I was trying to get to your answer.
You made a point about holding players accountable, right?
I made a point that that's what we do as fans.
Okay.
But I don't think it's always fair to that player.
Okay. So you being a valid Dallas Cowboys fan, we all know, the question's out the book now. You guys are now looking at your franchise, and you're saying Dak is the face of your franchise. Do you agree?
Yes.
4 years, $160 million.
I agree.
All
Matthew
right.
Stafford got a lot of money also. He never won a playoff game.
You're right.
What is he was a number one pick.
He was a number one pick.
Was he a number one pick?
He was number one pick.
I'm not too sure.
He was number one. He was number one.
Where did Dak get drafted?
Is he your franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Do you believe in him?
Yes, I do. Especially this year. I did believe in him before he got hurt in the Giants game.
So you don't believe in him
phenomenal.
now?
Huh?
You don't believe in him after the injury?
That injury is a tough injury. He broke. Well, if you saw it live, oh my goodness.
I saw it live.
I remember getting a call from Joas, and he said, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah,
and we watched it live, and I said that's a tough injury to have. Injuries are part of the game also. Is he our franchise quarterback? Yes. Based on what's out there, he is our franchise quarterback. I think over the years, he's improved. Look, yes, that first year, he shot defenses, right? Romo gets hurt again, and he shot defenses. He wasn't the greatest passer. Zeke, we had a great line. Zeke was, carrying the team. Second year, he got exposed because now teams can actually play some defense, see if he can make those type passes.
Game plan.
Right. And then, we basically ended up, 500 that year? Third year, he's improved. He's improved every year. If you look at the numbers, he's improved every year.
That right now.
And I really believe when you see a player that's improved, that means he's working on the offseason.
Correct.
Whatever his weaknesses are, he's working. And I actually have faith that and like I said, it goes to my point. If they put the right structure, like if Dak is running for his life like Romo did, he has no chance.
Okay.
He won't succeed in the NFL. That is not a winning environment for any player. But now and I believe this, I think Stephen Jones is actually a better GM than his dad. A lot of people may think that's unpopular, but I think his dad is prepping him because Jerry Jones, let's be real, he's 78. Only God knows how much he has left. And he's prepping his son, and I think his son is learning the business and how things work, and I think his son is doing a decent job as far as draft picks.
I personally was going to say I think the issue is Jerry Jones. And the expectations that Jerry Jones puts on the franchise. That's the point I was making with that New York Knicks comment, because it's enough being an athlete, being a professional athlete, and getting paid to perform. All right, that's one thing. We know, playing outside and in your yard and playing for the love and for the joy of the game is great. Once you put a paycheck on it, then there comes expectations. Dallas is that times 20. Because, again, America's team. Jerry Jones created all of that. All right? And then with those championships came the bravado. It's Jerry World, So I think if he goes away, it's not going to solve everything, obviously. But then the expectations are always going to be there because of the fans. But I do think there's something to be said.
There's always expectations.
There's always expectations.
Even if you make the playoffs, they're going to say Cowboys are going to go all the way.
But I'll liken it because obviously I liken everything to the Miami Heat. But I liken it with Tyler Hero, putting him in that spot as a point guard. He's not a point guard, number one. And he's now thinking too much. He thinks he got to set up everyone, got to make sure everyone. That's not his game. Your game is to come in and shoot, right? So the same thing with Dak, I personally believe. But Dak has given us, his last season, let me read you his stats from before he got hurt. 4,902 yards.
In how many games?
They were 8-8 that year.
No, I'm talking about. Well, I want to hear his stats this year because I know he was leading in yardage, passing.
He was leading
quarterback rating.
He played 16 games. That was 2019.
And the Cowboys were last in rushing defense. They were pretty decent as pass defense, but rushing defense they were dead last. I think at least in the bottom of the league. I'm just going by head. I'm just going by what I'm watching. You understand?
30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
And
he was balling.
And he was playing that's why he's a franchise QB right there. Mm-hmm. Right there makes him a franchise QB.
So do you believe Dak can deliver your Super Bowl?
Well, I'm going to say this to my previous statement. It really depends on structure.
Okay.
Super Bowls... I think some people would disagree with. They think it's easy. I don't think it's easy to win Super Bowls.
Absolutely not.
To say is he good enough to win a Super Bowl? Of course.
He is?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think
he's definitely good enough to win a Super Bowl. I mean, you had players. I don't want to go back in the day, but you had players that are not Hall of Famers, that are not even good, that have won a Super Bowl with just a good defense. Peyton Manning, for God's sakes. He won a Super Bowl with a broken neck, couldn't throw the ball at all. He threw the worst ball in the league the year he won a Super Bowl.
But Von Miller
could not throw the ball. But the defense, and that goes with structure. The defense was so phenomenal. They carried, and Peyton Manning, to his credit, he's a Hall of Famer. He admitted it. He said that defense carried me.
That was the year you had Von Miller.
He had Von
crazy.
Miller, the great DeMarcus Ware. Mm-hmm. You had a team. That was a
Champ
team.
On that team?
Huh?
Was Champ on the team?
Champ Bailey? I don't believe so.
There was Doomerville. They had Doomerville.
No, Akeem Talib was.
Akeem Talib.
And Chris
Harris. Yeah. Right. And that team carried Peyton Manning. Like, I've never seen Peyton Manning look so bad. To the point I actually felt bad for him.
Yeah, we all did.
And to see that defense to be that phenomenal, to actually say, and to carry that team. And I believe they beat Carolina. Was it that Super Bowl where they beat Carolina? Or was it another team?
It was Carolina.
See, I don't remember losers.
It was Carolina.
It was Carolina?
2015.
Okay, I rarely remember losers. But
so why do you remember so much about the Cowboys?
Oh wow! Well, because once again I experienced winning with the Cowboys.
So you experienced losing.
We all experienced losing.
I mean, only the Cowboys been losing majority of your life.
Wow. That's not necessarily true. I've been alive for a long time. So that's not necessarily true. Once again, you're hitting an opinion. I love those digs. I welcome them, actually. It's good to say. And for you, Vlad, I can understand it. You won a Super Bowl, you cocky, even though you give up the coach and your starting quarterback, which technically Nick Foles was your starting quarterback. Yeah. But, which your organization made a huge mistake by letting him go.
I don't think so.
Doug Peterson?
No, I'm talking about Nick Foles.
I don't think so.
He won you a Super Bowl.
And?
Look, ESPN will tell you Carson Wentz should start, right? They will tell you he's the guy, right?
Well, hold on. Here's my question. What is Nick Foles doing now?
Well, it's like I said, it goes with schematics. Correct. And to my point, he will never be a Pro Bowler probably. He will never, but guess what he has over Romo? A Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
okay, let's be honest.
But we also had a good defense.
Is Nick Foles better than Tony Romo?
No.
Okay, there you go. Now I could actually listen to you. But now you're telling me, Tony Romo has never won a Super Bowl. It's structure. It still goes with schematics, coaching. He's better with different coaches. He's not a good player. He is not. Tony Romo made the Pro Bowl with 3 different coaches. To me, that's why I said, guys, with players, I feel bad for certain players actually for that reason. Because you have these good players in bad franchises where, look at Matthew Stafford. You know what the outlier is? He's never won a playoff game. Well, Detroit is terrible.
And they'll have no
terrible.
weapons.
He's winning this year.
Well,
he will win this year.
If you say he has no weapons, he had Kenny Galladay, he had Calvin Johnson. Like I said, you can say he had no weapons. He had Calvin Johnson for so long.
But Calvin Johnson, one, had a short career. Two, Calvin Johnson played hurt.
Not with Matthew Stafford. They were throwing touchdowns like crazy.
Correct, but also Calvin Johnson played hurt a lot.
People play hurt. When in football players, a lot of football players would say, if you play, you're not hurt.
What do you mean by that?
He said it. He played hurt majority of his career. And not that. Let's not forget, Calvin Johnson was getting triple teams. As
excuses.
Every
I've seen
week.
Tony Romo come in the game with a broken back, and nobody talks about that because he has like a playoff, week 17 against Washington, where he gets hurt and he's stuck at it. I seen Tony Romo with broken ribs against San Francisco to lead the team back to win the game.
But you know what I never seen Tony Romo do?
Dallas Cowboys.
I never seen Tony Romo do something, though.
Win a Super Bowl, win a playoff game, get to the conference finals. You've seen him win games. As much as you love him and hate him, you've seen him win games when you wanted him to lose. You've seen him come back in fourth quarter. Actually, he had the most fourth quarter comebacks in actually his tenure, I think, after 06.
He did.
You could actually look that up. I'm just going by head.
Right.
I'm not.
No, it sounds about right.
Factual. So to give Tony Romo all of that, and to have once again top 5 QBR rating all the time.
That's cute.
All the time.
I like rings.
I mean, for me, it says a lot about the individual player. Where, like I said, I've seen games where he was running for his life, where the ball is going over. That's not on him. If they don't have a center, what happened? Why didn't Jerry get him a center? Why it took Jerry so long to get him a line?
That is a good question because Jerry got deep pockets.
What? Right. So you know Jerry was gonna draft Johnny Manziel.
I do remember that.
And it was his son that said, "No, we need a line." You understand? And Johnny Manziel, what has he done in the NFL?
He's not in the NFL.
That.
He's not even in the NFL. He's
that.
in the fan-controlled football league.
Jerry Jones was going to draft Johnny Manziel. He liked Johnny Manziel.
So speaking of the draft.
And the master marketer.
I'm telling you.
I give it to him. His business savvy is brilliant. I think he's a great businessman. Don't get me wrong. I think I admire him as a businessman. I really do.
But it's obvious he can't put together a winning.
But once again, I think the Cowboys have improved in drafting and player personnel. I really do. Mm-hmm. A lot of their moves, I didn't really like them overpaying DeMarcus Lawrence.
I agree.
I thought DeMarcus Lawrence was a reach. He had one good year, and they went crazy. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a reach. I like Van Der Esch. I like our linebacker core. Jalen Smith. I like them. Like I said, though, football is still winning in the trenches.
Yeah.
We need more of a defensive line. We've been bad in a run for a couple of years. It's not 1 year. It looked terrible last year.
So I can't lie to you. I really did want my cousin to be drafted by Dallas because they give out money like.
So what would you say you guys need in this year's draft? Since you say you have all these holes.
I really believe we need corners. We need a defensive line.
You see?
I was actually paying attention to see what Tampa Bay was going to do with Ndamukong Suh, because I think everywhere he went, he's been good with defending the run. And I think that's our weakness right now. We can't defend the run. When he was in Miami, they played with defending the run. Yeah. Ever since Detroit, he was very good. I think he's a very I know we look at his tactics and stepping on people and we talk about those things because, like I said, it's good to be negative on TV. That's what sells ratings. Yeah. But I think for him, when I don't know if Tampa re-signed him, but I was watching. I think that would actually be a good pick for the Cowboys to actually, Jerry likes giving people money. He might as well pay him. I think Tampa was close to resigning. I'm not too sure. But I kind of like that team. I think that helps Dallas a lot to actually, help. I know they signed a DT from the Texans. Mm-hmm. I really don't know much about him, really, I guess, because, the Texans are the Mets in Texas when it comes to the Cowboys. Like New York is, like the Yankees. I mean, it's all about the Yankees in New York. So for me, I just look at it like I want to see what they do with stopping the run. I think that's what they need. I don't think they should touch the offense. I think the offense is fantastic. I think Amari Cooper is a little overpaid also for a wide receiver. And that goes with Jerry. throwing out his pockets and not having enough cap space for the things that do matter. I get all of that. Look, football is football. I get all of that. I mean, if you want to go there, we could talk about organization. I just don't think when it comes to the players, I don't think, based on what they do, what they have done, we have to blame the players. I think, yes, like I said, as fans, we look at the players in football. I'm not talking about basketball. Let's be clear. In football, as fans, I've heard fans say organizations suck on purpose. They've ruined players. So I mean, look at Ryan Tannehill, right? Yeah. All these years. And then he makes the playoffs 2 straight years. But then people will still say, well, it's not really him, it's Derrick Henry. But technically, he leaves a franchise
and immediately
has some success. So for people to say, well, they don't really totally agree with that proves my point. He was in Miami all these years. He got drafted high. The minute he left Miami, he finds success.
Wide receiver in college.
I really believe at a point, and I said this, I'm impressed with Tony Romo's loyalty. I did think if Tony Romo was a little selfish and went to another team, he might have had playoff success with the right structure. I really believe that. I think he was that good.
I've uncovered the truth. It's Jerry Jones' problem. It's Jerry Jones. I think we've gone, how long has it been? Almost an hour now?
Over an hour.
And it all comes back to the expectations that's put on them by Jerry Jones. And we've heard ad nauseum. We've heard about how Jerry Jones runs the team. He runs it like a slave owner. Are we gonna argue that?
Oh, I think that's a little harsh.
Listen, he calls his guys boys, and it's not because they're Cowboys. Okay?
I think it's a little harsh. I don't want to go there.
Is it really?
I do.
Look at his relationship with Dak Prescott.
And he told Dak that.
Look, guys. I'm gonna tell you something about the media. You guys sound like ESPN. I love it though.
I mean, they do call me ESPN.
The media, because I've heard Stephen A. say this. I've heard a lot of guys on ESPN, and the funny part is, don't take what they say for that's their job. They're paid to say those things. Mm-hmm.
Is it right or wrong, though?
I don't believe so. I believe he does care for his players. Look, I'm be honest with you. A lot of people that don't know, Tony Romo negotiated his contract. He said no to the very first offer.
No agent?
Of course he had an agent. But he said no to the first offer. And I'm impressed by Dak. He said no also. Look, everybody said, well, he paid Romo. You know what they don't say? They gave Romo a terrible contract, offered him a terrible contract at first. And Romo said no. And Jerry Jones, look it up. Go on YouTube. Jerry Jones said he was impressed by that. Because Romo fought him also, but then they try to make Jerry Jones look like some bigot. And that's what they do. They're paid. Look, guys, sports media is still media. Making everyone dumb in America.
In my heart, this is what I truly believe. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And again, like I said, I can make this because I'm a Heat fan. But Jerry Jones and Pat Riley have a common thread.
That's a good thing. I like Pat Riley.
Yes, they have a common thread in that sink or swim, they stand on the goddamn boat.
Well,
okay?
Didn't that help Miami?
Yes, but here's what I'm saying about that. Miami. When it goes wrong, though, they dig in. Pat Riley is the same exact way, and sometimes you got to learn when to kind of let go of the reins. That's what it was cool to hear you say about his son. I didn't know about that. Mm-hmm. But it's cool to hear that because that's what needs to be done right now. You need some fresh eyes on the franchise to be able to bring in people that, because Jerry Jones is going to stay loyal to his guys no matter what. Right. So you need fresh eyes to come in and help out with that.
I think that's very important. Any franchise, any decision making, you need fresh eyes in any business. Mm-hmm. Let's be real. If you have, I know you do, business with your wife, mm-hmm. but if there's something that she sees, sometimes it takes 2 minds, 4 eyes to actually see certain mistakes maybe you would make, 100%. Strengths and weaknesses to actually succeed in anything. Mm-hmm. So I think, for me, like I said, look, all this whole thing, he's a bigot. How? Deion Sanders loves him. Michael Irvin loves him. Mm-hmm. Black people are not stupid. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
The media does things where you look at it, well, Stephen A. Smith said it. I watched it and I said he's an idiot. You understand? But to his credit, I don't want to call Stephen A. Smith an idiot. Let me not say that, because Stephen A. Smith, I remember, watching him, he was saying that, he got here, somebody called him dumb. So the way he articulates is because that moment he said when somebody called him dumb, he made sure he educated him. So I could respect that. You understand? But he still gets paid millions of dollars to say whatever he wants so we could watch. Yeah. You understand what I'm trying to say? So when he said Jerry Jones didn't do that to Tony Romo, that was false. Actually, it wasn't like, Dak being a black quarterback. It was out there. You understand? So now the media does stuff where, if when Romo, no, that's false. Romo negotiated that. He said no to Jerry. He said, no, I don't want that contract. So,
but Dak did the same thing.
And that's why I love Dak for it. I'm not mad at Dak for getting all that money. Look, you broke your leg. Get everything. Fact. You might not. Look, by the time he's done, he might not be able to walk. But look, let me tell you something. Romo, thank God he retired. You know why I said that? Because he was getting hurt so much. I wanted him to play with his kids. Yeah. At some point, you hear all these players having these injuries, CTE, broken back, they can't walk. Mike Golick, I think he has issues with his hip. Yeah. At some point, they're human beings too. Facts. So, for me, get your money, Dak. I'm happy he got his money. Does that hurt the team? Of course, people will say, well, Tom Brady didn't do it. Again, Tom Brady was in a structured system. Did it bite him? Yes, because the organization did screw him. And he screwed them right back by winning a Super Bowl. Shout out to Tom Brady, even though I can't stand the Patriots. And Tom Brady, I had this thing, because I'm a Cowboys fan. It's just something there. But, basically, they keep saying he took less. Well, Aaron Rodgers didn't take less. Nah. I don't. Business is business at the end of the day, right? So ESPN will tell you, well, he took less, so he's this. They will find anything. I've heard things where they find anything to say something. They're paid to say those things.
You make good points, man. I wanna wrap it up on this because, of course, we can have the podcast and look back on this. So I need predictions. The season's coming up, and I need to know how well, or maybe not, how not well the Dallas Cowboys are gonna do. So we're gonna end on that. I'm gonna give you last chance.
I'm hurt. I hate this question.
I just got one question.
Oh, go ahead, Vlad.
And it ties into what he just asked.
Okay.
I'm looking at the back of your shirt. I see 71, 77, 92, 93, 95.
Oh, 95. Very
How much longer?
How much longer? How much longer?
Come on.
Is it Dak? Is it Dak kids? Grandkids?
I'll give you this. When the Eagles win the Super Bowl twice, at least try to go back to back. You could ask me that question.
Okay.
You could ask me that question.
And Dallas probably will relocate out of Dallas by the time
that's
win.
You know very well that will never happen. Even you, Vlad. Look, I understand. I get it. The hatred for the Dallas is very real.
I don't even hate the Cowboys that much.
I get it. But even you, Vlad. Oh Lord, even you. I thank God for you because you helped my team get ratings too by watching them lose. You're helping the team be America's team.
That's a fact.
So, to that point, I love the questions. I embrace it. How much longer? Only time will tell. But please, if we do, invite me back to the podcast.
Yeah, fact.
So that way I can actually tell you, hey, Vlad, guess what? We have 6.
What, 6 wins for the season?
No,
I know.
No, 6 rings. 6 rings.
Listen, I will not be on that podcast. I will sit. Like we have everybody in the room, I'll sit on the other side and just let y'all go at it. So let's end on this. I want to know, how are the Cowboys going to do next season? What do you predict? And we know you can't tell the future, but what do you, as the team is currently constituted, how do you think they will do?
Most Cowboy fans will want me to say Super Bowl. A part of me, I'm gonna say, hey, Super Bowl, because I'm a
say fan, that every year.
Yeah.
I don't say that every year.
I say y'all.
Oh,
Cowboys
okay,
fans.
Well, yeah, I could say that. I'm going to say this. I'm looking at our division.
Dak's back.
Well, it's not even about Dak. It's just the moves that our division are making. I think we're right now, we are probably the 3rd best team.
Okay.
In that division.
In the division?
Right now.
I agree.
Well, I hate this because I hate these teams. You know, it's your division, right?
Right.
I hate these teams.
Go ahead, say number one.
So a part of me, I don't even really want to answer this question because a part of me, I really don't like these teams.
Go ahead, say number one.
Well, it's not your team. You're gonna finish last. But
I agree.
The team that I'm looking at is actually Washington. Well, they're not number one. I hate this team. I can't even say it.
The Giants.
Because
have Daniel Jones as the quarterback?
Well, I'm gonna say this.
On that note,
yes, I agree with the fumbles with Jones, Daniel Jones, right? Mm-hmm. But I like the Galladay move because they needed it. Mm-hmm. I think they got a corner. I forgot his name, but he's good. Yeah, they got Kareem. They made very good moves for that team to succeed. And Jason Garrett did say to Daniel Jones, hey, just limit the turnovers, you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And if they do that, they'll succeed. Look,
Daniel Jones is solid.
I don't think so. I think he has to work on his turnovers. But
yeah, of course. But
and then you have Washington.
Prospect.
Washington was very good defensively last year. Mm-hmm. They had quarterback issues.
Only going to get better.
They had quarterback issues. They were very solid. They still need a quarterback. Obviously, every franchise needs a quarterback.
They have someone who can kind of stop gap.
Fitzpatrick is getting older. Mm-hmm. He's a solid player. He's not the guy. They're good enough defensively to make noise in the playoffs, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's the answer for that team as a starter friend. That's why I put them at number 2 because based on their defense. I still got to see what the Giants look like with Saquon coming back because he has he had an injury too. I think he tore his ACL, right?
Yeah.
And as a running back, that's Derrick Rose injury. You don't want that. So I want to see. What he does. I hate to admit that, but you're looking at free. And like I said, as a fan, I pay attention to my division. I got to see what's going on.
I actually agree with you.
I got to see what's going on. So as a fan, I'm like, I hated those moves because I don't want the Giants to succeed. I don't want the Washington football team to succeed. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles are not going to do anything. They're fourth. They're last in that division.
Who do you have 1 through 4? Just list them.
Right now?
In the division.
As of now, because, free agency, the draft hasn't started.
Correct.
As of now, I would say the Giants as 1, the Washington football team is 2. It hurts because right now, and I know my wife is listening, I'm sorry, but I have to be honest. And I got the Cowboys at 3 just because defensively they haven't really fixed the problems. I think offensively they're still the number 1 team, especially if Dak is healthy. I think he's improved. And I'm not saying that teams play defense, but you need a line. You need something. I mean, it looked bad last year.
And then when you look at the rest of the quarterbacks in that conference,
Dak is the best quarterback in that. That's why I say I don't say it based on just quarterback though, right? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at that Kenny that if Galladay can stay healthy, you guys got the best
offense.
Well, yeah, Giants got to fix their line also. They have offensive line issues, which I think that's important. But I still say defensively and based on Daniel Jones, he's had turnover issues since college. Mm-hmm. So fumbles, that's his thing since school. So I mean, like I said, I think that's easily fixed. I think if he really works on it, getting sacked, how to watch out for strip sacks. I think, if he doesn't turn over the ball, he could be a good game manager. Mm-hmm. You understand? I mean, the Giants had Kerry Collins for God's sakes, and he's not and they've done stuff with Kerry Collins when Kerry Collins was playing. So to say, Daniel Jones, this and that, I get it because obviously, fumbles losing the football is very important in football. But what they did defensively last year, they played very well. And I think watching them play now, like I said, we're still a threat offensively. I think we do have the best offense. And if we get better defensively, I'll bump Cowboys from 3 to 1 easily.
So give me. This will be the last thing I'll ask. Give me a win-loss. Give me a win-loss for next year.
Based on now,
9-7.
Without the draft. Mm-hmm. Well, of course you would say 9-7. You would love to see them, and you're still gonna watch us lose and give us ratings. So you would say 9-7. Thank you for the ratings, Vlad, in advance.
That's the only gift I'll give you guys.
Yo, I'm trying to wrap up the damn podcast here.
9-7. I give him, as of now. I believe, though, after the draft...
9-7?
I could bump it up after draft, depending on how they draft, to 11-5, easily.
Okay.
Because I think offensively, they're just really that good.
Okay. We are going to wrap it up right there because I have a wife and I need to go home. So... I really appreciate it, man. That was really interesting.
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed it.
Dan, we're gonna have you on again because I definitely need
it.
to see this again. This was like a heavyweight fight going back and forth. Appreciate the live studio audience that we had in the background. Appreciate y'all. And of course, don't forget every Monday, unless we say otherwise, every Monday we are on Clubhouse. And if you miss this Monday, you are a fool because Dan will be on there, and I'm sure we'll have another hour of going back and forth. So catch us on Clubhouse. If you need an invite, hit us up on the DM. On what's our Instagram?
Our Instagram is sports_cash_. Again, sports_cash_. You can contact us on Twitter or Instagram. Slide in the DMs before 7 p.m. on Mondays to get an invite to Clubhouse.
Dan, it was a pleasure. Thank you,
guys,
my brother.
Thank you. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yes,
Love
sir.
to talk Vlad. It was fun.
I will shake your hands, but I only shake one.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
Thank you. Once again, thank you. I'm and like I said, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. And of course, Vlad, he would, when there's, I love it. Like, pray we don't win. Let's just say that.
We're gonna
Vlad, for your sake, pray we don't win. Oh boy, pray.
We're stopping right there. All right, Cash Crew.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Cash Crew, until next time.